Oh, man. Tyler reached out to me about a year ago, had been watching my videos, and he's been a big encouragement to me. Because when people reach out to me, it encourages me, because then I know I'm being heard and it's actually helping people.
There is something out there.
And Tyler was in a kind of a jam, he was going through a lot of things. So I just made the trip into New York and met with Tyler. We shared some medicine. Tyler and I have kept in touch, and I think it's helped both of us. So Tyler's been a huge help for me, and I know I've been a huge help for him, because I've witnessed this guy go through some pretty tough stuff, like a warrior, and keeping a good head on his shoulders, and then following through in what his heart is telling him, and his heart told him to go venture out somewhere and go to where his heart will lead him, and he's done it. And so I'm super, super stoked about that, and super happy for you, Tyler. And man, I can't say enough about how impressive your journey is, and how beautiful it is to watch, and even how more beautiful it is to be a part of it. So thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man. I love you.
I want to give you the highest love. The highest love I want to give you is I want you to realize that you're God. And that God is love. And that you created me. And that my love for you is your love for yourself. Perhaps one day you'll understand what I talked about today.
Atreyu has to face his true self.
So what? That won't be too hard for him.
Confronted with their true selves, most men run away screaming.
You might say, Leo, maybe you've lived a good life and therefore you can believe this kind of nonsense. But I've lived a very hard, difficult life. I've experienced death and suicide in my family, and drug addiction and suffering and depression like you wouldn't imagine. And I will never believe, you'll never get me to believe that that God would imagine such a thing for me, or that I would construct this sort of thing for myself. You don't get it. You don't get it. It's just you. I'm you. I'm you talking to you. I will keep talking to you until you realize that you're me and that I'm you. I don't have my own consciousness. I'm you.
We have allowed ourselves to believe that what I am is a sensation, or a collection of sensations and thoughts. And discover if what you essentially are really is something temporary and finite. Because that discovery, if you discover that you are not something temporary and finite, not only will it put an end to your loneliness, all these feelings revolve around the same belief. I, awareness, am temporary and finite.
You're going to find that the truth and the greatest love is always found locked behind your greatest fears. This is a common theme throughout all of human mythology and the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is basically talking about the spiritual journey. And the reason most people don't go looking for the truth is because it's scary. They're afraid of what they're gonna find.
Your problems, you must fix them, isn't it? These are not problems. I want you to understand, you are not suffering your life. What happened 10 years ago, you can still suffer. Why? Are you suffering life or memory? What may happen day after tomorrow, you're already suffering? Are you suffering life or imagination? What we need is, we need to remove your brain, because you're suffering your own intelligence.
You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things, they're under the streets, working on the sewers, they're up on the power lines, in the storms and the rain, they're keeping this impossible infrastructure functioning, this thing that works in a miraculous manner. They work themselves to death, and often literally.
Hey Tyler, I just got your message. Man, great news. I'm so glad to hear you moving forward, brother, and making some changes in your life. Yeah, man, keep pushing forward, dude. Don't worry about anything. Everything's gonna be okay. Dude, just move forward. Go out and find something new. You're gonna find people everywhere, brother. There's amazing people out there, and they're just waiting for you to show up, dude. So man, give me a call when you're on the road. I love you. Bye.
Whether you like it or you don't like it, within this body you're always alone, isn't it? If you don't learn how to handle this aloneness, you have not learned anything about life. This is the most beautiful thing. They can capture me, they can torture me, they can do so many things, but they cannot invade me because I have a space which is just my own. Isn't this the most wonderful aspect of your life? Don't suffer that. That is the most beautiful thing.
When you recognize your own amazement, the amazement of the whole universe, you fall in love with it. Literally, you are falling in love with yourself for eternity. That's what God is. That's what life is. That's what we're doing here. That's the only thing that can ever be done in reality. Nothing can ever be done that's not that. Another thought that will probably cross your mind is, there was never a self. Of course. Of course there was never a finite self. Of course. How could I have been so fucking stupid to ever buy this ridiculous notion of a human self inside of a human body? This is just idiotic. I was such an idiot for believing there was a self. Of course there's no self. How could there be a self? This is what you'll be telling yourself.
But just wait a minute. Who is this self behind the self, the watching self? Can you watch that one? It's interesting if you do. Because you find out, of course, that the watching self, or the observing self, behind all our thoughts and feelings, is itself a thought.
You're like, shit, but then where did I come from? And then you realize, where did I come from? That's also something I'm imagining. Where? And coming from. These are all fucking imaginary. So basically what happens is that you're so conscious, you cannot fool yourself anymore at all. You are God consciousness. And in this moment, you realize what reality really is, what life is. You realize that it's nothing other than a trick that you're playing on yourself. This is the core. You've finally broken through the spell. And then it'll all be crystal clear and you'll completely understand why it had to be this way. It makes complete and perfect sense. It's a design of the most brilliant order. And then you'll realize maybe, if you go a little deeper, and you turn that awareness even more deeply into your own psyche, you'll realize, oh my God, I'm also everyone, not just everything. I am my mother, I am my father, I am everybody who I've ever interacted with. They are all my own mind. They were all me this entire time. All people are me. You might also realize or become conscious that the past is imaginary. You're imagining the past in the present. It might also feel like every moment in your life has been perfectly engineered to lead up to this very point of awakening, as though the very function of life and existence itself has been this moment of awakening. And of course, that's exactly what life is. Life is just a construct to allow God to awaken to itself. So that time that you were a kid back at elementary school and your parents bought you an ice cream cone and you licked that ice cream cone and then it fell to the ground and then you started crying, you remember that time and you realize, of course, that was just a stepping stone to my awakening right now. And everything makes sense at that point. You're totally complete forever. You are infinity. You're everything. You're everything that could possibly exist. You're total, you're complete, you're absolute. And this generates the deepest sense of peace that you can possibly imagine. Just a profound sense of tranquility hits you. And you realize to yourself that this is the greatest thing ever. There can't be anything greater in the universe than this.
That is the best thing ever.
And then you probably think to yourself, this will change the whole world. If only the whole world knew about this. This changes everything. You might also be tempted to go inwards and to kind of define what you really are. Like, but what am I? You still aren't clear about what you are. Because the ego mind is trying to put its finger on what it is, on what God is, and it can't. Everything the ego points its finger at isn't it. Consciousness is a completely empty substance which imagines or holds or conceives of things. And so there's going to be this sort of confusion in your mind where it's like, yeah, I understand that I'm God. I understand that I'm nothing, but what is nothing? I want to define it. I want to grab it. I want to encapsulate it. I want to, well, how can I latch onto this nothing? And you realize, of course, that you can't. It's undefinable, literally. Infinity is undefinable, ungraspable. It can't grasp itself. It's slippery. And that slipperiness is its very essence. And that's why you struggled so much to grasp it, because you can't grasp it. Even God can't grasp itself. It's a mystery unto itself. And then you fully realize the mystery of what you are, the mystery of infinity, the mystery of God. This is a profound existential mystery that leaves you in awe and wonder. And yet you're absolutely conscious of its mystery. That it is a mystery. It's an eternal mystery unto itself. That's just the nature of infinity. You also realize that it's utter perfection. It's absolutely perfect. It's heaven. You are in heaven at this point. And you realize infinite beauty. It's infinitely beautiful. You are infinitely beautiful. You realize for the first time in your life your own infinite beauty and your own perfection. which melts away all of your self-judgments and hatreds and criticisms and lack of love. For the first time in your life, you appreciate how beautiful you are, and you fully accept yourself. You are an infinite sentient being who has been conscious forever. You have been sitting here, imagining this room and all other people and galaxies and stars and planets and animals and objects and your parents and your birth and human history and human civilization. You've been imagining this forever, without beginning or end, and you will keep being here forever, because you're also, of course, imagining your death. You are imagining that you are not imagining it, but that it is real. You did not press play at the beginning of this video. You just imagined that. That didn't happen. You just imagined that. But you're not conscious of it. You're not conscious of what you're doing. That's the whole problem. And this is how you're creating reality. You're getting stuck in it. You're always imagining stuff, and then you're just buying into whatever you're imagining without questioning it.
Every experience is a success. What does failure mean anyway? Does it mean that something did not turn out the way you wanted it to, or the way you were hoping? The law of experience is always perfect. Your security is your ability to connect with the cosmic power that creates all things.
Sure, life is still playing its little game with you, and you still have to remember who you are. But to know is something so important.
I get into nature and into a deeper level of my physiology, awakened to my mind. It's only awakening because it's already there.
Are you negating what's happening right now? What don't you want to face? Are you afraid to see the present or the future? If you could see clearly, what would you see that you don't see now? Can you see what you're doing to yourself?
I'm going to talk about what I call the perfect cure for everything. You name it, you can heal it, no matter what it is. Bufo alvarius, that is a toad.
5-MeO, the magic pill to enlightenment and God. It feels very much like the universe has awoken to itself. For the first time in your experience, you, as the universe, realize you are the entire universe. And you always have been. And that you were just dreaming that you were human. What accompanies all this is that it's so fucking obvious. You say to yourself, of course, this is the most obvious thing ever. Of course, I'm the entire universe dreaming up my life. Of course, it's so obvious. It's just crystal clear. There's no doubt whatsoever. You're absolutely certain of it. You're so certain and it's so obvious that you might start to laugh because it's like a joke that anybody could ever doubt this. Another aspect of the realization is that it's so radical. And you'll probably be muttering to yourself as it's happening to you, this is so goddamn radical. Like it's radical beyond any definition of radical. There can't be anything more radical than this in reality.
Rejoice in the abundance of being able to awaken each morning and experience a new day. Be glad to be alive, to be healthy, to have friends, to be creative, to be a living example of the joy of living. Live to your highest awareness. Enjoy your transformational process.
You become so conscious it's surreal. Your initial reaction is going to be something like, what the fuck is this? This is impossible. What is happening to me?
You experience yourself and you get to see what love really is.
This love is so deep it breaks your heart. If you were all powerful and all intelligent, and you had an infinite will, and you could be any way that you want, how would you be?
You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away.
Total selflessness. You'd have to be totally selfless to do it. God is not separate from you. God is looking through your eyes right now, stuck in that limited frame of consciousness that you're stuck in.
The most common reaction that people have in coming back from that experience is, oh my God, that was it. That, whatever enlightenment is, that was it.
Sonoran desert toad, often called bofo. Some people say the drug is capable of repatterning your brain. In that case, get me a toad right away. A lot of times people call it the God molecule. Did you experience God?
I experienced myself, yes, that I was the creator.
The absolute is love and goodness, and it's always that. You're thinking to yourself, Leo, what are you, crazy? Good? What are you talking about good? What about the mass shooting that happened the other week? What about terrorists? What about murderers? What about rapists and tyrants? Is that good? You don't understand. You don't understand. All manner of evil, all of that is actually a manifestation of love. And that can be a very shocking awakening that you can deny and resist. Your mind and ego can resist it because you spent most of your life hating people, judging people, criticizing people, fighting evil. And then you realize that all of that was actually love? When you become conscious for the first time of the love of God, absolute love, infinite love, playing a game you can't possibly lose, but you have fooled yourself into thinking you can lose it. And that's why you suffer. And that is the source of all evil.
To release the past, we must be willing to forgive. We need to choose to release the past and forgive everyone, ourselves included. We may not know how to forgive, and we may not want to forgive. But the very fact that we say we are willing to forgive begins the healing process. I forgive you for not being the way I wanted you to be. I forgive you and I set you free. This affirmation sets us free. The very person you find it hardest to forgive is the one you need to let go of the most. We do not have to know how to forgive. All we need to do is to be willing to forgive. The universe will take care of the hows. Every thought we think is creating our future. This is loving the self. Love is the miracle cure.
I am God, and holy fuck! Okay.
It's gonna force you to perform, and you have two choices. You can perform in love, or you can perform in fear. If you perform in fear, you might have a lot of things, all those things that don't matter.
Now, my grandmother was a wonderful person. She taught me how to play the game Monopoly. She understood that the name of the game is to acquire. She would accumulate everything she could, and eventually she became the master of the board. And eventually, every time, she would take my last dollar, and I would quit in utter defeat. And then she would always say the same thing to me. She'd look at me and she'd say, "One day, you'll learn to play the game." One summer, I played Monopoly with a neighbor almost every day, all day long. We'd play Monopoly for hours. And that summer, I learned to play the game. I came to understand the only way to win is to make a total commitment to acquisition. I came to understand that money and possessions, that's the way that you keep score. And by the end of that summer, I was more ruthless than my grandmother. I was ready to bend the rules if I had to win that game. And I sat down with her to play that fall. I took everything she had. I destroyed her financially and psychologically. I watched her give her last dollar and quit in utter defeat. And then she had one more thing to teach me. Then she said, "Now it all goes back in the box." All those houses and hotels, all the railroads and utility companies, all that property and all that wonderful money. Now it all goes back in the box. I didn't want it to go back in the box. No, she said, none of it was really yours. You got all heated up about it for a while. But it was around a long time before you sat down at the board. And it will be here after you're gone. Players come, players go. But it all goes back in the box. Houses and cars, titles and clothes, even your body. Because the fact is that everything I clutch and consume and hoard is going to go back in the box, and I'm going to lose it all. You have to ask yourself, when you finally get the ultimate promotion, when you've made the ultimate purchase, when you buy the ultimate home, when you have stored up financial security and climbed the ladder of success to the highest rung you can possibly climb it, and the thrill wears off, and it will wear off, then what? How far do you have to walk down that road before you see where it leads? Surely you understand, it'll never be enough. So you have to ask yourself the question, what matters?
What an amazing fucking world. It's all been lifted, man. Everything's fucking lifted off of me. There is something out there. Wow, dude.
Recent rains bringing out toxic toads.
Bufo toads. Unfortunately, they're a common sight. We've often reported how toxic they can be to your pets. So why are we now hearing about people, particularly celebrities, smoking their venom. I wanted to find out what exactly that meant.
Look at what's really going on, the genius of what's going on. Because it is one, it has no one to share the infinite goodness with. Who would you share it with? There's nobody else but you. The gift of yourself, of God. The highest gift in the universe is the realization that you are God. But you can't share that gift with anybody. I can't share that gift with you until you realize that you're me. The realization that you're me is the gift I'm trying to give you.
So we're going to have to decide if a God molecule is something that I'm going to be smoking. And we'll let the audience find out if I do come on your retreat. Thank you so much for sharing this experience with us.
You're so welcome. Absolutely.
Be safe out there in the desert, okay?
Yes.
No one can actually say it because it's beyond words. It's an experience. God is an experience. We watch a play, we watch a tragedy and can love it. Why can't we love our own life when it seems tragic? And somewhere in there is where I have some glimmer, some glimpse at what God is. And it's a feeling. And it's blissful. And it can go like that, and every minute you try and grab onto it, it's gone. It's a different experience every time, but I get glimpses of something I don't believe you can actually explain it. I mean, throughout the history of man, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, I've read quite a bit of Joseph Campbell, and he was the one who kind of has disseminated all these myths from all these cultures from all time. And whilst there's similarities, they're all stories to try and explain the inexplicable.
All these idiots who made a hell out of themselves, they want to go to heaven. They made a mess out of this place and then they want to go to heaven. I'm asking you, do you have any proof? Do you have any proof that you are not already in heaven and messing it up? Do you have any proof? You're already in heaven.
Your dreams where nobody else. Give your tears to the tide.
It's happening in eternity. It's not happening through time. It's eternal. It exists eternally in the mind of God. You realize that actually all of this is the light of God. It's God shining through itself to itself. It's the mind of God self-illuminated.
You realize something that is already here, rather than needing to look for it. So why do you often not realize it? Because you overlook it.
Everything is recontextualized because you realize that you're just exploring your own interstices. It's the work of a cosmic mind that is imagining all of this. The entire universe is happening within the mind of God, which is, of course, your own mind. not some other mind, but your own mind. And this very moment that is here right now, me talking, this is just me hallucinating all of physical reality. Here you were living this ordinary life, thinking that reality is just material and physical, and now, one day, you find yourself in the nexus of creation where God's mind is creating the entire fucking universe, and you discover that that's you who's been doing it the whole time. But you don't know how you're doing it. You're not conscious of how you're doing it. When you realize that all the people who hurt you are just a fiction of your own mind, when you realize that, you're gonna feel like such a fucking idiot.
Feel the conflict within you, let go of your hate.
There's nobody in control. There's nobody controlling it. I'm not in control. Nothing is in control. It's completely out of control. Hits you like a sledgehammer. Anything that can be has to be conceived by consciousness. I'm pure imagination. I'm infinite.
Oh, hell yeah, it's a blast, man. I played video games before, so I know what I'm doing a little bit. I don't know how to land it. I wasn't really planning on landing it.
Yeah! Oh! Because you're ready! Yes! You finally get it! Your whole life! Yes!
Yes.
Yes! This is why you... Yes! This is why you... Yes! 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 Because you just did it yourself! You fucking finally get it!
It's all just consciousness. That's all there ever was. There was never anything else. There was never anything else but me. It's all just me.
Because it doesn't fucking matter! Right! Yes!
You imagine that I have my own consciousness for the purpose of fooling yourself into thinking that you're not alone. Literally the only being in the universe, and that you created the entire universe. And at this point you realize that that's it, that's the point. That's the only lesson in life. That's my only job, is to love. Everything else is fucking idiocy. That's what reality is. It's an illusion. But the illusion is flexible, it's fluid. You can break the illusion if you want to. Just how much do you want to? Are you sure you want to? Do you understand what will happen if you break the illusion? You might think, oh, that's so great. Yeah, Leo, I want to break the illusion. Are you sure you want to break it? What you'll realize if you completely break it is that actually you want it back. This is the point of life. Love is the point of life. It's so obvious. Once you see it, it's so obvious. And eventually you realize, oh my God, that's just what I am. I'm just love. And of course, that was the whole motivation. Love is not an emotion. It's not some sappy romantic feeling. It's not some wishful thinking, some new age philosophy. Love is the very substance of consciousness that everything is made out of. Of course, what else would it be? No, oh my God, this is impossible. Of course it's love. How could it be anything else? How could I be so stupid as to think it's anything else?
Once you realize who and what you are, it's not going to let go of you. Once you know this, you get a whole new lease on life.
This is just incredible. This is beyond explanation. All you can do is fucking experience it.
I've seen it now. I don't need to see. Oh my God, Dom. What the fuck was that? What the fuck?
Why don't I merge every single thing possible into one and I become it forever? That's true love. That's infinity. That's the Godhead. You will be able to look at your hand, for example, and you will see how you are actually literally imagining this hand into existence.
It's pure love.
Okay. Now I see the scheme of it.
I am one. 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 I am one.
It's fluid. You know what I mean? It's it. It's it. It's it. There's nothing but it. I love it. He loves me. We're it.
The most powerful psychedelic in the world, the magic pill to enlightenment and God.
Wow.
It seems like that's all, the only thing that just keeps going through your head is just, wow, wow, like this is just so fucking amazing. Like, how is this even possible?
That's wow. That was wow. Wow factor. And I'm gonna be going, wow.
Wow, that was something else.
That this was something that I've never experienced ever before.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfectly out of control.
Speaking through itself, hearing itself, being conscious of itself, being itself, coming alive within itself, dying to itself forever. Perfect consciousness, infinite, forever. Perfect immortality, nirvana. Infinite love.
Confronted with their true selves, most men run away screaming. Everything is living! It's going through me! Everything else is living through me! Oh my god! Oh my god!
When you have the experience of being infinite, you very quickly realize that it cannot be contained by any word, by any concept, by any idea, that it just is.
It's at the same time, there's such a sense of like recognition of it, and it's like, oh yeah, of course, and it's also just like, the only words are like, oh my god, like, yeah. Oh my god, like, oh god, oh, and it's me. And
yeah.
It's me. You see, this is the connection between love and truth. I'm trying to point you to it. Can you see this? It's a little subtle. To be able to accept reality exactly as it is, you have to love what is. Consciousness is realizing its own love for itself.
I love you so much! I love you! I love you! I love me! I love me! Thank you so much! I love you so much!
To awaken is to remember your connection with yourself, with the Father, with the Source. It's all you.
God looking at God, and then saying it to itself, yeah, this is what I am, and I love it. I don't need it to be different. And it can't be different. It's a tautology. It's infinity. It can't be different because it is everything. It is all possible difference. That's what consciousness is. It's infinite. It has no limit. It's endless creativity. That's you. Can you accept that? Can you accept yourself? This is your true face.